We are live. I'm Joe Trozian, and this is RamView, the September 16th, 2022 edition, brought to you by Temple City Auto Repair. If you're needing some auto repair work, get yourself some John and Henry at Temple City Auto. All right, cool. It's good to be back. I had some stuff come up this week, couldn't talk on Monday, and it's funny. Everything runs in waves, right? I don't think anyone wanted to talk about football this past weekend, but it's a new weekend and new hope abounds, right? Got to see Thursday Night Football last night. If you got to see Thursday Night Football, then you got to enjoy Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. That was not bad. Carissa Thompson's crew there was not that bad. I don't know what Ryan Fitzpatrick was doing. But it's like if they can stay away from the shtick as much as they seem to be so far, which I know they won't, I'll appreciate it. I can't stand NFL Network. I don't need shtick. It's football. When you see a game like you saw last night, you just need football. And so it was good to watch that. And what can I say? Watching Justin Herbert, he reminds me a little bit of Dan Marino. I'm not saying 100%, but the ability to go downfield and that last throw he had, considering his condition down the field to DeAndre Carter before the last touchdown was amazing. And so if you're a Charger fan, you're confident, but then again, you remember you're the Chargers, right? And so stuff like that always happens. And really, realistically, that game last night comes down to who holds on to their pick sixes, right? The Chargers not only dropped one, they dropped two passes that one maybe could have been returned for a touchdown, but two of them, and the one they dropped in the third, they're up 17-7 in the third. Halfway through the third, they dropped the pick, and the review overturned it. I think it was Samuel, and he holds on to that. They're going to go in for more and increase that lead at least to 20-17, if not 24-17, 24-7. Instead, he drops it, and the whole game turns, right? And then the Chiefs got their opportunity for a pick six, and they didn't blow it. And that was really the difference of the game. And that has to hurt for the Chargers because this is a divisional game, and the AFC West is like the SEC. I was looking at some of the grades last night from PFF, and the number one rated offensive player, according to Pro Football Focus, which has become the Bible of a lot of post and pregame scouting stuff for football for the NFL, the number one rated offensive player for the Chiefs last night wasn't Patrick Mahomes. Did you know that? And it wasn't Edwards-Helaire. It was Creed Humphrey. Creed Humphrey, yeah, that guy, which, of course, it always puts the Ram fans in the red when they consider Creed Humphrey, that he was available and they took Tutu Atwell instead. But we'll talk more about that later. I thought that was kind of interesting. But it was a good Thursday Night Football. The games have improved. When you got Al Michaels calling it, it is a quality affair. So good for us. We got to see it. I'm not crazy about a doubleheader on Monday. I think that's typical ESPN overkill. NFL should do a better job of you got to ration your product just a little bit. Make it one game a night. You don't need a Monday night doubleheader. NFL, clean that up. Regain my respect. Going around the NFC West, the Cardinals are a little bit in disarray, right? You got the stuff going on with the Cardinals. Their defense is horrible. Although their offensive line didn't play poorly against the Chiefs, they were just outmatched and outgunned. And while I'm not a Kyler Murray fan, I don't know if Kyler Murray is going to be able to make lemonade out of these lemons. And it'll be interesting to see. The Seahawks might go 2-15, maybe 6-11, but they had the best part of their season, of course, on Monday night. And Geno Smith, yeah, he looked really good, and watching Geno Smith, you're happy for him. You're really happy for him. But watching Geno Smith, you understand the value he had heading into the 2013 draft and why coming out of college, people really liked him. But you also saw why he slipped to the second round, right? And then you also, watching that game last night, understand why he's still in the league. So you're happy for him. You're happy for him, and you hope it can pan out. But he is probably a deluxe backup at best. But, hey, we don't need to get into it. I think everyone else did, how the Seahawks won that game and how the Broncos completely mismanaged it. Seahawks update here also. Jamal Adams out for the season, right? Seahawks spent 2 first-round picks and a third to acquire Adams a few years ago. He's been eligible for 50 games for the Seahawks these last 3 seasons. He's only going to play in 26 of them because he's missing the rest of this season with a knee injury. Spend your money wisely. That means don't spend it on safety. And then I was driving around this morning and the video surfaced of Trey Lance having a good time. And everyone defended him, saying, it was during the offseason. Can I just tell you, when you're becoming the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, there's no time for a video like that to appear, right? Especially after how he's played and how he played in Chicago. And if he biffs it this week in Seattle, bad timing for that video to appear. He's got to grow up. He hasn't done anything enough to warrant that. And no one really does. Not if you're a great quarterback. You can't do that if you want to be a great quarterback. And I think San Francisco, they're replacing a good quarterback with him, with Trey Lance. Jimmy G's a good quarterback. So you better be a little bit better than good. And he hasn't been good. And a video of him, spreading the dollars around and doing all that stuff, that's just bad mojo, man. So I was thinking about it even on Monday night is the 49ers have 2 options. They either, in light of the video also, they have to admit they made a mistake, which I don't think they're going to do, and go to Jimmy G. You can't admit that you made a mistake when you gave up 3 first-round picks and a third to draft Lance, right? You can't admit that you made that mistake, right? Not yet. One of those number 1 picks turned out to be the 12th overall in the 2021 draft, and that turned into Micah Parsons. So there's some sting there as well. So you can't admit you made a mistake, but you also might be in a position to keep your locker room. And I know this sounds counterintuitive. You might be in a position now where you just need to get Jimmy G out of the room, not because Jimmy Garoppolo is a bad influence, but because as long as he's there, I do not know how you look at your veterans in the eye, and those veterans whose window is closing, and George Kittle's not even playing this week again, and you have all these windows closing on Trent Williams and everybody else, and you're going to tell them, we're all in on Trey Lance when we got Jimmy G right here who's taking us to a Super Bowl. So the 49ers, I think, are being put in a bad spot. Now, if Lance comes out, plays lights out in Seattle where the weather's supposed to be bad this week, I don't know. But chances are he's not. Seattle's better than Chicago, and it's also Seattle. It's also a very tough environment. And so the 49ers are reaching a point where they're going to have to admit either they made a mistake or go all in and get rid of Jimmy G and just send the message that it's Jimmy G. Jimmy G's gone, that Trey Lance, we're riding with him all the way. Because, man, if I'm a veteran and Jimmy G's still in the locker room, I'm getting really anxious. I'm getting very angry as well. I'm asking to be dealt because I don't want any part of that. Why would you want to waste these last few years of your career? And I got to believe the 49er brass is smarter than that. So Trey Lance, the NFC West is up for grabs, and in one sense, and the Rams have an opportunity to seize control. They got the Falcons this week. We know, Brian Allen's out. Coleman Shelton's replacing him at center. The Rams prepared for this. That's why they re-signed Shelton. Shelton's going to be replaced by Tremaine Ingram. Ingram's been in the system since 2019. Ingram actually looked good during the preseason. This is good. It's not a bad thing. It's not a horrible end-of-the-world thing. And if Joe Noteboom, his MCL, is acting up and Joe Noteboom can't go, Alaric Jackson will step in at left tackle. And Alaric Jackson is somebody the Rams have confidence in. And we'll talk more about Joe Noteboom in a second. Going down the injury list here, Leonard Floyd is interesting because he didn't play very well last Thursday. Neither did Justin Hollins. And Floyd was out in August, even during practice sessions, with what they call a lower body injury. And he didn't practice, I think it was yesterday. So it's really interesting what's going to be. And so it could be Hollins and Terrell Lewis at the edge. And I don't think that's what the Rams envisioned. But the Rams are going to need more out of him. Long snapper, Matt Orzik. He's out, got a calf strain. He's going to be replaced this week. That does concern me because if your long snapper is messed up, that's a position that can get real tricky real fast. Van Jefferson, yeah, it'd be nice, but it shouldn't affect anyone's blood pressure. He's out again. And apparently, we're supposed to see some Atwell this week. I'm a defender of Tutu, right? I am. I've defended Tutu. I'm still defending Tutu. I'm trying to give the Rams the benefit of the doubt because this organization, the McSnead era, has given you every reason to give them the benefit of the doubt. But for a guy that was held out of all the preseason games, and we were told, oh, man, he's going to be a real part of this offense, he played 7 snaps last week. 7 snaps. Now, there was a report on Rams Wire saying, oh, the Bills came out with a different look, and they really couldn't, send Tutu down the field, and he was going to bust the top. Well, you got Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer. You got 2 of the best safeties in the league playing for Buffalo. Chances of getting behind them were slim to none to begin with. So I don't know. Was that really changed on the fly? That makes me kind of question that. And then the other thing that comes up with Tutu Atwell is if he is a bust and the Rams move off from Tutu Atwell, to me, you know what that confirms? It confirms that the fans were right and their voice is justified. Far too often, fans are dismissed. Now, I'm not talking about the sports bar fans who, are screaming and drunk and everything at a sports bar who wouldn't know the difference between Crazy Legs Hirsch and Lawrence McCutcheon. I mean, we know what kind of fan we're talking about there. But for the fan that knows the game, follows the game, was upset by the drafting of Atwell, this would justify their voice. And I say that needs to be there because there's always somebody shooting the average fan down, the fan that has eyes, that knows what he's seen. And they're always shot down when they share, Atwell's a bust. They should have drafted Creed Humphrey. And there's always some expert, some quasi-paid guy like me saying, more than the organization. Well, I'm sure there were people that were Browns fans that knew Johnny Manziel was a bust and they shouldn't have drafted him, right? Fans knew something there, right? Fans read things, they see things, they know, and to just be dismissed is the height of great arrogance. Teams are going to make mistakes. You totally get that. 49ers might be dealing with one now, but I want Atwell to make it. But if he doesn't, let's give some props to the fans that were saying, man, it was a big mistake to draft him instead of Creed Humphrey, right? Moving on, practice squad. Trey Regis injured, Ramside and Ronnie Rivers. Okay, we'll move on. The thing that I kind of wanted to spin off about a little bit here was regarding Joe Noteboom and the offensive line. And the whole thing is don't panic about the offensive line, right? Don't panic. It's going to be okay. We do have a concern, but I'll tell you what that concern is. That concern is not Joe Noteboom. He's been with the club since 2018. You've seen him play. He's always graded out as an above-average pass protector. He's the guy the Rams decided to spend 3 years and 40 rocks on to replace Andrew Whitworth. They believe in him, okay? We've seen him play well in the times he's filled in, right? Extended times. He's got over 1,300 career NFL snaps. I mean, he hasn't been a starter the last 4 seasons, but he's seen playing time. The problem was last week, it was the season opener. Von Miller was coming back to L.A. Von Miller's going to the Hall of Fame. Von Miller has 2 rings. Chill, okay? Just chill. Noteboom can play. I'd be more concerned about left guard David Edwards than I would about left tackle Joe Noteboom, all right? Tremaine Anchorman at right guard, Rob Havenstein at right tackle. We're cool. Coleman Shelton was signed for this. Coleman Shelton's going to be okay at center. The Rams are okay. Joe Noteboom's not the problem. If there is a problem brewing, it's at left guard with David Edwards. So just keep an eye on that. And again, if Noteboom's MCL, which has kept him out of practice this week, is really acting up, expect Alaric Jackson to play at left tackle. And that takes us to the game on Sunday as we hit the 15-minute mark. I got the Rams winning 28-13. I think there'll be a little bit of a struggle early, but don't panic. They'll win. Now, if they don't win, then panic, right? Atlanta has the ability to run the ball, and that concerns me a little bit. The Rams can be vulnerable sometimes. The Falcons' O-line graded out well against the Saints. But here's the deal. Of course, this was the same thing last week. if the Rams can exploit the Falcons secondary with their passing game, right? Something they didn't do against Buffalo, then the Falcons running game won't be much of a concern if they fall behind. Yeah, they got A.J. Terrell. I think he was, 16th overall a couple years ago out of Clemson, the cornerback. He started off great in his career, but he's been struggling. He's been struggling a little bit lately. And so the Rams have an opportunity here, and they really need to win this game. If the season's going to amount to anything, this is a game, this is a have-to win, and they should win. And I think it'll be a struggle early, but I think they'll come back. I mean, struggle for a while, not a terrifying Chiefs struggle like they had against the Chargers last night, but there's going to be a little bit of a struggle, and they'll get their feet under them. 28-13 Rams. The guy I expect to see something out of is Taylor Rapp. Marcus Mariota is his kind of quarterback, and Marcus Mariota is more legs than arm. And so I expect Taylor Rapp to come to step up, make some big hits. Everyone's going to fall in love with Taylor Rapp again. I don't think Mariota is not the type of quarterback that's going to expose Taylor Rapp in coverage. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out, as well as the offensive line. Cam Akers is supposed to get more touches this week. That has to happen. Darrell Henderson had 18 touches, 13 carries, 5 catches last week. And that's all you want from Darrell Henderson. If you want to keep him active throughout the whole season, you don't want him having many more touches than that. And what's his name? What's that guy's name? Oh, yeah, Cam Akers needs to pick up the load. And then I think that's about it, right? Yeah, we got it. I'm Joe Terosian. You can catch me at joeterosian.com. Also on Spotify and iHeart. You can catch the RamView podcast. Hopefully get back into a little more of a rhythm next week. I'm a sports writer. I've been a sports writer in the past. I write books now. I'm also pastor of a small church in Burbank at Burbank Faith Virtual. That's our online ministry. And go from there and check it all out. All right. Thank you so much for clicking on. I like the Rams 28-13, and we will talk to you soon. God bless and take care.